Hi everyone, my name is Yulia Horova. Today we're taking a closer look at Ukraine and the events unfolding around the country and how they affect the entire world. So today in the episode. Democrats call for stronger, clearly defined security guarantees for Ukraine as discussions continue. Ukrainian intelligence warns Russia is preparing a staged provocation with civilian casualties. Putin spreads false claims about attacks that never happened to hide failures on the battlefield and shape his own version of reality. Trump may not keep promise about NATO Article 5 guarantee in case of a new Russian attack on Ukraine. Democrats urge Zelensky not to agree to Trump's peace plan. Kamala Harris' former national security advisor Philip Gordon in the New York Times writes that a key element of the deal, equivalent to NATO's Article 5, won't be implemented by Trump. Gordon also notes that the draft of the peace plan would apply to a significant, deliberate and sustained armed attack by Russia. This formulation would allow Trump to manipulate if he deemed a new Russian attack to be insignificant, accidental or temporary.
Mr. Trump has repeatedly said that even NATO's Article 5 defense guarantee, which the Senate approved as a treaty, applies in his mind only if allies pay their bills. He has said he would encourage the Russians to do whatever the hell they want to a NATO member that he felt was delinquent, and that the meaning of Article 5 depends on your definition, not exactly a categorical statement of Allied solidarity. Philip H. Gordon, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris in New York Times editorial.
According to Mr. Gordon, Zelensky should focus on other guarantees in the peace plan. Elements of such an agreement could include access to the over $200 billion of frozen Russian sovereign assets held primarily in Europe, the United States and Japan. Second, writes Mr. Gordon, Zelensky should also seek a major new U.S. arms package, including Patriot and other air defense systems, long-range missiles, F-16 fighter jets, ammunition and artillery. Some of this weaponry could be financed with the Russian assets, some by the European and other nations, and some, if Mr. Trump gave the green light, could be funded by Congress. Another concrete element more valuable than a security guarantee will be Ukrainian control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which Russia has seized. The plant could be jointly run by the United States and Ukraine, as Mr. Zelensky has proposed. Some clauses of a potential peace agreement mayn't align with sense of justice. This was announced by the president of Finland, Alexander Stubb, in his New Year address. He also confirmed that peace in Europe is now closer than at any time since 2022. But according to Stubb, the West cannot be sure that Russia is ready for peace.
However, we will do everything in our power to ensure that the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Ukraine will be preserved. Ukraine is part of a free and democratic Europe, now and in the future. We will continue our support for Ukraine. We will keep looking for a solution. Together with our allies, we will make sure that Russia will never again attack one of its neighbors. Alexander Stubb, President of the Republic of Finland.
President Volodymyr Zelensky announced a number of important meetings in the coming days. The main topic is the achievement of a just peace. On January 3rd, there will be a meeting of advisors on national security in Ukraine. 15 countries have confirmed their participation. And on January 5th, there will be a meeting of the chiefs of the General Staff of Ukraine. On January 6th, a meeting at the leaders level will take place. European leaders and the leaders of the coalition of the willing.
The main thing is security guarantees for Ukraine. Politically, almost everything is ready, and it is important to work out every detail. How the guarantees will work in the sky, on the ground, on the sea, if we manage to end the war. This is the key goal for all normal people. On January 6th, a meeting at the leaders level will take place. European leaders and the leaders of the coalition of the willing. We are preparing now to ensure that the meeting is productive, that support increases, and that there is greater political confidence both in the security guarantees and in the peace agreement.
Russia is preparing a staged attack that could kill civilians. This warning comes from the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine that says the Kremlin is running a coordinated operation aimed at disrupting peace talks mediated by the United States. The most likely timing for attack is around Christmas, celebrated under the Julian calendar on 7th of January. The possible target could be church or another highly symbolic site.
After the so-called attack on Putin's residence, we are seeing the Kremlin spread new fabricated information as pretexts to prepare Russian and foreign audiences for further escalation. We predict with a high degree of probability a shift from manipulative influence to an armed provocation by Russia's secret services involving significant human casualties. To fabricate evidence of Ukraine's involvement, it is planned to use debris from Western-made strike UAVs, which will be brought to the site of the provocation from the front line. Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine on Telegram.
U.S. State Department urged Americans to leave Russia amid security risks. In particular, the risks cited include terrorism, unlawful detention, and enforcement of local laws. Officials have limited ability to help Americans after the embassy in Moscow reduced its staff and consulates in Russia have suspended operations, U.S. State Department notes. The provocation may take place inside Russia or in Ukrainian territories occupied by Russian forces. To falsely blame Ukraine, Russia operatives may plant fragments of Western-made drones brought from the battlefield. This tactic is not new. Russian security services live and have used false flag attacks before, including against their own citizens. General Staff of Ukraine emphasizes defensive forces strike only military targets in Russia and follow international humanitarian law. This is a response to fake claims by the so-called head of occupied Kherson region that Ukrainian forces hit a cafe and a hotel in the occupied village of Horty, alleging 24 deaths. The Ukrainian military says it targets enemy military infrastructure, fuel and energy facilities, and other legitimate objectives that doesn't strike civilian sites. Russian propagandists and political leaders repeatedly use this information, including false claims about Ukrainian attacks on civilian locations, to influence international partners and derail peace efforts. Russia has intensified strikes on the port city of Odessa, targeting critical export infrastructure and civilian areas. This is reported by the Wall Street Journal. According to the article, Russian forces stepped up drone and missile attacks on Odessa throughout December 2025, damaging port facilities, storage areas, and power grids and killing and injuring civilians. Odessa is Ukraine's key maritime gateway, handling roughly 900% of the country's agricultural exports and serving as a vital economic artery. Analysts say these attacks aim to choke off Ukraine's export routes and weaken its economy, not just hit military targets, as Moscow claims. Despite the pressure, Ukraine has reinforced protection at ports near Odessa, expanded shelters for port workers, and continues repairs under fire to keep exports moving, according to Alexei Kuleba, Vice Prime Minister of Restoration for Ukraine and Minister for Communities and Territorial Development. Russia troops massively attacked Zaporizhzhia last night. This one of the most massive attacks of the city. Dozens of houses were damaged. A shopping center caught fire. This was reported by local authorities. A significant part of the Russian targets was destroyed by air defense forces of Ukraine on the approach to the city. This is what made it possible to avoid injuries among residents. Despite massive Russian attacks, noted Zelensky, Ukraine in New Year continue to fight and to recover. Putin cannot deal with the war in Ukraine in reality and creates a fictional reality using propaganda. But all his lie is being ruined by strong facts. Meanwhile, Putin's press secretary Peskov suggests the West to take the Kremlin's word for it. Ukraine provides evidence of their lies.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Video you can see on your screens have worth $500,000. Ukrainian intelligence reveals details of the special operation to save life of the commander of Russian volunteer corps Denys Kapustin, who Kremlin wanted to kill. The video shows the world of two strike drones. The first one flew into the minibus in which Kapustin really was. The second filmed a burning car where Russian special services believed Kapustin was. So they paid the Ukrainian intelligence officers $500,000. Top of Putin's failures in 2025 in our next story for you.
The head of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Kirilo Budanov, congratulated the commander of the Russian Volunteer Corps, Denys Kapustin, and the group of scouts who literally led the Russian special services around their finger. Those, according to intelligence data, paid $500,000 for the alleged elimination of Kapustin. As a result, the money was spent, Kapustin is alive, and Russia's special services found themselves in an unenviable position.
The corresponding amount of money was allocated, which was allocated by the Russian Special Services for the implementation of this crime. As of now, the Russian Volunteer Corps commander is on the territory of Ukraine and is preparing to perform the assigned tasks. All units of the Russian Volunteer Corps, as part of the Special Unit Timur, continue to perform tasks in the areas and directions you have designated. My temporary absence in no way affected the quality and success of the implementation of combat tasks. Ready to move to the area of execution and continue commanding the Russian Volunteer Corps units.
The intelligence operation, thanks to which it was possible to save the life of the Russian Volunteer Corps commander, lasted more than a month. Specialists from the main Directorate of Intelligence also identified the circle of customers and executors associated with the Russian special services.
I am glad that the money received for the order of your liquidation went to help our struggle, and I wish all of us, and you personally, success. Please return to performing official tasks. They are waiting for you there.
Russian propaganda is trying with all its might to show its successes. On 27th December, the Russian Ministry of Defense once again claimed control over Kupiansk and Kharkiv region. The channel of the Russian Ministry of Defense, Zvezda, published several videos with Russian servicemen that were supposed to confirm the city's capture under control. In one of the videos, a group of servicemen is leaving the city. These frames were passed off as capturing the city under control, which even surprised military propagandists.
This is seriously used as proof of our control over the city. The exit from the city is used as proof of control of the situation in the city from a publication on a Russian propaganda channel.
On 31st December, the Ukrainian armed forces stated, Kupiansk remains under Ukraine's control. Clearing of Russian soldiers is being carried out there, and any Kremlin statements about the alleged liberation of the city are nothing but a parallel reality. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also mentioned Kupiansk in his New Year's address.
Це гордість бути.
This is pride to be the president of such a people in such a state, which has withstood and reaches any enemy military object and refinery, returns the war to Russia, teaches NATO military what modern drones are, which gives Russia an asymmetric slap and forces Putin to lie that he took Kupiansk 3 times and shot down drones near his residence with his own hands.
Putin's lie about the alleged attack on his residence in Novgorod region was refuted by American intelligence. The U.S. CIA concluded that Ukraine did not strike either the Russian dictator Putin or any of his residences in Valdai on the night of 29th December.
Russia had used the claim to threaten to harden its stance in negotiations, as thorny issues already appear to be hampering talks to end the war. But it has not presented any clear-cut evidence of the purported drone attack, which it said was aimed at Mr. Putin's residence in the Novgorod region, a rural part of the country. Instead, the finding by U.S. intelligence officials, which was reported earlier by the Wall Street Journal, aligns with the Ukrainians, who adamantly denied the Russians' allegations, from a publication by the New York Times.
On 31st December, in his own social network, Truth Social, Donald Trump reposted an article from the New York Post, which says that Putin's statement about the alleged attack on his residence shows that it is Russia that is the obstacle to peace, and that the attack on Valdai did not actually happen, and in the Kremlin it was invented. Reported by Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtenhelov, UATV News.
That's it for today. I'm Yulia Horva. Thank you for your watching us today. Please leave your reactions and comments. Your thoughts are highly appreciated. Please also subscribe to our channel so to stay tuned to what the future holds. See you soon. Goodbye.